I said, plug me in. I got stuff to talk about, damn it. I'll crawl out of my earbuds once a week to give you a show. That's what I do, folks. I do this show for the common man, for the people in despair. I bring this show into the world and I sell it everywhere. The simple truth lies waiting here, folks, for all of you to share. Hold on, I will take you there. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to fill this entire show just by saying that 40-year-old boy podcast. Would that be that's the word to choose to stretch out. Boy, right? Because it wouldn't be 40-year-old boy podcast. No. It wouldn't be 40-year-old boy podcast. Nope. It wouldn't be 40-year-old boy podcast. That's not bad. No, it would be 40-year-old boy podcast, right? Or would it be 40-year-old boy podcast? That just sounds dumb. I don't like that one. Huh?
Just try searching out the cast part.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. Nah, that's dumb. No, it's got to be boy. Boy's the one we got to choose from. All right. All right, now we start the show. You ready, Lily? Are we going to hit record on this? Let's go ahead and record this. Hey, what's happening? You pointed. Was that a point? A start point?
We're starting now.
All right, just want to make it.
Ready?
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. That's the new open. That's great. That's a new drop. All right, are you ready to, does that sound check over?
Yeah.
All right, let's start over. Let's get this show going. Let's roll. Let's move. Let's point. Let's dance. Let's dance.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. I don't mind that. This show brought to you by Vowels. That's perfect. 40-year-old boy podcast. See? Vowels are making their presence felt. This show, you know who's angry right now? Consonants. Oh, so angry. How do you feel about it, Kay? See? That's short and to the point. Kay's very upset. What are you doing? You're
I'm trying to think what consonant you can draw.
in 40-year-old boy podcast. I can do that. Or I can go 40-year-old boy. Yeah, that's I can't do it. Podcast. Ugh. Oh, it's all over the Windsock.
Yes.
You know, it's a problem because your Windsock stays on my mind. That is a reference for nobody.
That made me fucking laugh.
Did that make you laugh? All right, good.
Oh my God.
Look, because that's all that matters, because you're the surrogate audience, and I am performing just for you, Lily Von Stupp. And if the... No, you did not.
Come on.
When did you do that when you were bringing home the bacon and frying it up in a pan?
And I would laugh at the Charlie commercial as well.
Kind of young, kind of now. Charlie, kind of free, kind of wow. Charlie, kind of fragrance that's here to stay, and they call it Charlie. Oh my God, I'm just going to do jingles. It's bad enough that I did a Happy Days thing a few weeks ago, and then I started talking about Mannix, and now we're just doing jingles from the 70s. Holy God. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. All right, so that's from a commercial from the 70s, Alka-Seltzer. Alka-Seltzer used to have a little guy made of Alka-Seltzer. He was like their guy. Like like I told you, like the Pillsbury Doughboy is the greatest war criminal who's ever lived. We all know that, right? I've said that. But I think Speedy Alka-Seltzer's on the list too, because he was made of Alka-Seltzer, and then he told you to drop like his friends in water and drink them up, and that was the bargain he made to stay alive, to become sentient, to become a boy, to become a real boy. He's like the Pinocchio of medicine. Fucking Speedy Alka-Seltzer. That's totally what he is. He's the Pinocchio of medicine. He made a bargain so he could come to life and tell you stuff, and then you drink up all of his friends to make your stomach feel better. But I got to be honest with you, nothing makes my stomach more upset than the thought of living Alka-Seltzer telling me what to do. I got to be honest. I don't think me drinking your brother is going to make me feel good about the fact that you're alive and telling me to drink your brother up. You are fucking crazy, Speedy Alka-Seltzer. And I guess his name was Speedy because he fixed you quickly, right? Is that what his deal was? Or was it because he ran away from the scene of the crime after you killed his family and drank them up?
Maybe there's speed in it.
Dude, you think there's meth?
I don't know. The original.
Yeah, Speedy Meth Head. That would be an interesting guy to talk to.
Meth Head?
Speedy Meth Head's telling you what to do. He's not even a war criminal. He's just on the nod. No, heroin guys are on the nod, right? You can't be on the nod on speed. You're on the nod on heroin. I think I learned that from the Basketball Diaries. Is that where I learned that phrase?
I don't know.
Dude, I read the Basketball Diaries, which is Jim Carroll, and then they made the movie. And I didn't see the movie, but I don't know if the movie dealt with all like the homosexual hustling and all of that kind of stuff. Like Jim Carroll, it's, dude, when you read like, because again, these guys would just, they had he was on a basketball team and there was like this perv who used to hang out with them and he'd give them shoes like if they would just get naked for him, like they, these, and so they would do it, and then the guy would like pay to watch them jerk off or pay to jerk them off and stuff, and these guys just did it. Like they were just like, yeah, man, we got us some extra money or whatever. And then Jim Carroll got into hustling, like in bus stations and stuff like that. And he just saw it as a way to make cash. And I mean, it's so funny. I remember growing up and well, you're making a face. What? Go ahead.
I never watched that movie because I thought it was about basketball.
It's not. No, it's about.
Watch that film.
Well, no, don't watch the film. Read the book.
Awesome.
Read the book.
Okay.
Yeah, because the book, I don't know if the film deals with everything. That's the thing, is I haven't seen it.
I'll have to get it on a book.
But in the book, he talked about they'd be on the road trip with this guy, and there was this one guy who was like a scout, kind of an equipment dude, and he would hang out with the team, and he would basically like smell their jocks, like he was that fucking horrible dude who would be on the prowl, and they would all be just like, that old perv, that old queen would follow us around. And to them it was just like, yeah. Whereas now, like if you did that guy, like, dude, Nancy Grace would be talking to that guy all fucking day and ruining his life and ruining our lives by talking to anybody, because Nancy Grace is a bottomless sewer of garbage. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, right? I don't know. Look, I do this show and I talk to you and I tell you a lot of stuff and I try to be as honest as I possibly can about me. And, I reveal a lot of things about myself, and there's also a lot of things that I don't. But at the end of the day, and it's a stupid phrase to say, but I mean, I can live with me and the things that I've done and the things that I've told you and the things that I've said. Like, Nancy Grace is a ruiner. Nancy Grace is like a human scythe, and she is just carving her way through the chaff of society and leaving them dead in her wake. And how does she sleep? How the fuck does that woman go home and sleep? How does she... It's like Jerry Springer. Like, it's so funny. Jerry Springer became like a star, and everybody's like, Jerry, and they loved him, and he became he kind of crossed over multimedia and did all these different things. And I remember when that show was at its apex, I was like, how does he leave the studio? How do you ever face yourself? Like, how does Maury Povich wake up in the morning and have coffee with Connie Chung? And Connie Chung's like, hey, I talked to Kim Jong-il last night. And she's like, really? He's like, yeah, I made America ill yesterday by having a black guy dance because he wasn't somebody's dad. I mean, like, literally, that's... That coffee discussion between the fucking Chungs and the Poviches, that's just grim. That's terrible, right? Like, you know what? He should live in like... Their house should be like a two-face house. Maury Povich and Connie Chung. Like, she should live in the elegant part that's all fancy and has all the nice furniture, and he should live in just like this rickety fucking ramshackle cottage with hillbillies and fucking barefoot dudes shooting shotguns, and he has to deal with that, and he has to eat like beans out of a can. Fuck Maury Povich, and fuck Nancy Grace, and fuck Jerry Springer, and fuck Steve Wilkos, who was the fucking bodyguard on the Jerry Springer show and then got his own show because people were like, Steve, and they went, hey, let's give that guy a show because people are chanting his fucking name because he happened to be a bald bouncer on the fucking Jerry Springer stage, and one time he lifted a guy up. Let's give that guy a fucking show. You know why I say that? Because the other day I was flipping fucking channels. It was still on. It was still on. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Steve Wilkos still has a fucking show? Like, I'm always freaked out that fucking Maury Povich and those guys have shows. Dude, fucking every judge in the world is on TV, and they're doing stupid things, and the poor people just traipse through their goddamn courtroom, and they sentence them to nothing because, again, what you gotta give $48 for a radio antenna or whatever the fuck you broke. I don't know. I've been on jury duty a few times. Fuck. And, I should talk about that. I was on jury duty a couple of weeks ago. Dude, let me tell you this fucking story, all right? Again, this time I got called to the Van Nuys courthouse because the last time I did jury duty, and look, I don't know why I'm spearing off of this from fucking Nancy Grace. I have no fucking idea. All I know is those people are vampires, and they are awful and terrible, and I don't, but I mean, I'm not saying anything that you don't know, but people watch them, and people fucking absolutely dive head first into that sewer and swim around. You're shaking your head. What's up? Oh, okay. All right, I saw you shake your head. I didn't know what was happening. Are you taking a pro Nancy Grace stance? Is that what you're doing?
Nancy Grace is awful.
You don't feel that these people are vampires?
Nancy Grace is awful.
Let's have this debate. You are pro Nancy Grace. Go.
Nancy Grace is awful.
That seems like, you know what, actually, that is the most pro argument you could have for Nancy Grace, really, when you think about it.
She's
honestly.
Literally awful.
Yeah, that's the only way you could defend her. You go, you know what, she's really terrible, but not that terrible. That's your whole thing. She's a breathing human being with two eyes. And if she died, we could harvest her organs and keep some other people alive. Bitterly alive, but still alive nonetheless.
Bitterly alive.
Yes. If I had to have Nancy Grace's liver, first of all, I don't know if my body can handle that much bile. I don't know. I don't know if I could, because she is bilious. Bilious? How do you pronounce that word? Bilious? She's chock full of bile. Let's go that. And by the way, that's the worst coffee you'll ever drink. Oh my God, is that awful? Oh, chock full of bile? Oh, that is grim. You got to use a French press with that. And it's, you ever use a French press for your coffee?
Yes.
It's weird because it goes haw 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 when it's percolating. That's the noise it makes. That was not Charles Lawton. That was that. That was not Maurice Chevalier. That was a French press coffee machine everybody was imitating. By the way, I don't drink coffee. I don't know if it's called a French press. I don't know if that's what it is. I have no idea. That's stuff that's just kind of stuck in my head, and I hope I'm right. I have a coffee maker that's left over from the previous regime, and I use that occasionally when the new regime is in town. So we go ahead and take care of that. Actually, I like referring to it as that. I think that's fun. I've been overtaken by dictators. That's who I've been. The previous regime was overthrown, and now I have a new regime that has stepped in, and they've executed a junta, and they've gone ahead and taken over. But it's good to know that those two regimes can come together and use the same coffee maker. That's fantastic. I just wanted to say junta. That's all I wanted to do. Nancy Grace is terrible. She's an awful person, right? And those are the words that keep escaping my mouth, are terrible and awful, because that's really all I can think of. It's not that there's nothing redeeming at all. There's nothing good at all, and it's racist. And she's so, if it's a white person who's missing, she jumps right on the bandwagon. But if it's a black person, she gives it short shrift. And by the way, have you heard? Short shrift is missing. Oh my God, that's terrible. He's one of the Harlem Globetrotters. No, she didn't mention it at all. I didn't hear it on that show. That's where I did not hear about it. Nancy Grace. Short shrift is missing. Short shrift is come on. Is that the name of the show? Maybe. Short shrift is missing. All right. Yeah, on the Harlem Globetrotters. Come on. Look, I'm actually proud of it. That one I liked. That one came out of the fly. But she's terrible. All right. I have to describe what I just saw. You guys don't care because it's not a visual show. Lily had her glasses perched on top of her head, and they fell off. They I don't know if they fell off or if they leaped to their death. I have no idea if they're so tired of this show that they went ahead and jumped. What are you doing? Straightening your head out? There you go.
My glasses are bent, so they won't stay on my face.
Well, they're wide. I don't know what happened to because your head is not that wide. I don't know what happened to your glasses.
They bent. I haven't fixed them yet because I'm afraid I'll break them.
When I was a kid, you know what I used to lose? This is weird. I had glasses when I was a kid. Well, I lost that. Unfortunately, I wasn't a kid when I lost my virginity. I was not. I was 20. I've told that story on here, I'm sure. I'm sure we've all heard that story. Me and Candy in a bed. All right. That's right. I lost my virginity to somebody named Candy, who is not a stripper. Fancy that.
Well, is she now? I mean, it's been, what?
Well, I don't know. She died. So maybe.
Was it while she was taking your virginity?
Yes. Yeah.
I remember that story.
I said, you're going to take my virginity? I'm going to take your life. That's how good I am in the sack, folks. I had been pent up for 20 years, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I went, and once it was, all right, I was going to say something horrible, and I will not.
Good.
Anything more horrible than what I just said.
Nancy Grace.
Let's talk about her. You know what? She needs to get on the case of Candy, who's Candy died, and that's a mystery, a mysterious, all right.
How was jury duty? I'm just going to.
What are you doing? Why are you that person now?
Exhausted.
Are you the you're the Gunther Gable Williams of this podcast now. You've got a whip in a chair and you're like, jury duty, talk about that. And I got to jump up on my little fucking upside down platform with the stars on it, and then you'll throw me a steak. Dude, would you totally throw me a steak? I don't know if I could catch a whole steak. Dude, I just heard.
A steak at you, but a different kind of steak.
Are you going to like stab me? Really? I don't understand that. Why are you turning on me? You just want me out of your house. You still have back injuries.
No,
Well,
I really want to hear about jury duty.
I'll get there.
Me personally.
I'll get to jury duty. I'll get there eventually.
I'm still waiting for the story, and I'm your friend, damn it.
I had jury duty. Because I was just I was talking about some other stuff. I was talking about your Nancy Graces and these other horrible people. Because they're all horrible. Everybody's horrible. Who's that chick who's on in the morning on CNN? Like Robin Meade? Is that her? Anybody who can report horrible news with a smile on their face and then have like chit chat about it. I don't. Because, and again, anybody who can report the news, like, why are they getting this cash or whatever? I don't understand it. All right. I don't like anybody. I don't like anchormen or anchorwomen or anyone. Yeah.
The look on your face right now.
Well, I'm going to talk. All right, I'm going to talk about jury duty, but I want to talk about this. Remind me to talk about this later, or I'll remember. Maybe I'll remember. I think I'll remember. Tell you what, folks, if I don't remember, write me, and then I'll remember to talk about it in a future time. Because I'm crazy, and I'm trying to figure out how to not be so crazy. And we talked about this. We talked about it last week. But now I've got now I've got a whole new barrel of monkeys to open up for you guys. Oh, I tell you what, this show never ends, right? This is some crazy. Just rolls fucking downhill. You know who I am? I'm the boulder from Indiana Jones. That's who I am. And eventually I'm going to squash you guys. All right, so actually bullshit. My whole life is being chased by that boulder, and eventually it's going to fucking run me over. That's what it's going to happen. That's what it feels like.
You're a boulder being chased by another boulder.
I am, and I refuse to, because we're both going downhill. So so.
Jury duty.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but but then there's the other. I'll get to the other. But I don't even. Yeah, right. So I could call for jury duty. Remind me, folks. By the way, did you know that that's my song in Jill's phone?
Remind me, folks.
Remind me. Brad Paisley, Carrie Underwood. So I got called for jury duty a couple of weeks ago. Wait, we were talking about Nancy Grace, right? How do we skip over? Wait, I tried.
Finish with Nancy Grace.
Well, there's really nothing else to say about her. She's fucking horrendous, right? Like in talk radio, Eric Bogosian is a rabble rouser who winds up getting shot by that dude on the roof at the end. Spoiler alert. And so how is nobody taking a fucking shot at Nancy Grace? That's what I don't get. I don't know. She's such a, and again, not that it would kill her. She'd turn into a 7-headed Hydra and then fucking murder you and then eat your head like a praying mantis. Or you know, honestly, here's my theory on Nancy Grace, because I don't watch her. I know she still exists, but I don't think anybody really can complain about her, because when you watch her show, you're immediately turned to stone and you can't get to the phone and call anyone because that gaze is just fucking horrific. Oh my God. And she's like, I used to be an attorney. Didn't she say that? I don't even know her history. All I know is she went from zero to crazy in like a year. Like she used to be like someone she was on court TV and kind of dealt with stuff in a real way. And then all of a sudden she was on CNN and she was like, look at this girl's vagina. It's bruised. You know what I mean? She's one of those people. And I mean, and that tells you everything you need to know about this case. And then they found her head in a ravine. And oh my God, I can't believe that girl didn't put a pool up or a gate around her pool. And who was that chick? Remember that chick who drowned everybody? Not everybody. She drowned her kid and then hit him in a trunk or something. Casey Anthony. What? I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm horrified that people would give any ounce of energy, and I'm giving energy to her by talking about her. I'm adding to it, right? I should.
What about jury duty?
She doesn't deserve my outrage. I know you want me out of here. I get it. I know.
You're right. She doesn't deserve it. I don't spend 2 seconds thinking about it.
And I don't either. I told you that's the way it is about topical stuff. Like I used to care about topical stuff. I used to care about the president. I used to care about all these things, and I don't care at all now. I don't. Like I said about the drought in California, I was at work, and I have to tell you, I was at work, and I turned on the water to run the water to get it cold, and I got a glass of ice, and the guy goes, "Hey man, there's a drought, man. You should turn the sink off." And I go, "There's no drought." I turn the faucet on, and water comes out. He goes, "What?" And I go, "Hey man, if there's water in the sink and my shower works, I don't think there's a drought." And he goes, "Oh man. You really feel that way?" And I go, "Dude, I can't worry about the rest of the world. All I know is I'm clean and I'm not thirsty anymore. There you go, done, no drought." I drank a glass of water, I brushed my teeth, I hopped in the shower. Look at me, I'm smelling good, I'm feeling good, I look good, my hair's clean. That's all that matters. And I saw these photos the other day, like California's biggest reservoir is drying out. And I'm like, well, I hope it lasts another 30 years like I'm going to. And I hope on the day I die, they use the final drop of water from it to make a cold compress to put on my forehead that eases me off into the afterlife. Because honestly, I don't care. Don't care. Wish I did. I'm like the Mr. Pink of droughts. The Mr. Pink of droughts. That's beautiful. Hey, look, I'm sorry that the reservoir is dry. That's fucked up, but that ain't my fault. You show me a piece of paper that says the reservoir should have water in it, I'll sign it. You put it to a vote, I'll vote for it. But what I'm not going to do is play ball. And as for this, we're not going to have any water in 10 years bullshit, I got 2 words for you. Learn to fucking swim. No, it doesn't work. You know what this is? It's the world's tiniest canoe paddling across nothing for the fucking water in the reservoir that's drying up.
You're terrible.
I'm old and almost dead. I can't care about a planet. I was on jury duty. Went to jury duty in Van Nuys, California. Can't believe I was called again. I guess I'm going to get called every year and a half now because they realize that I'm the smartest guy in California and I should be involved in all juries. I feel like a supervillain when I get called because it's like, again, I was the foreman in one, and then I couldn't get out of the other. You guys know by years 2 and 4 or 3 and 6 or whatever the fuck we got. All I know is I got called to jury duty in Van Nuys, and so I had to take the fucking, and it was that stupid thing where you got a call at night and they might use you, and they didn't need me on Monday, but then they needed me on fucking Tuesday. I'm like, really, really? I even thought I'd get through the rest of the week. Like I thought there was no way they were going to need me, but they fucking called me, and then I get to Van Nuys. At least it was close to my house this time. Because the last time I was in Los Angeles, and I had to leave my house at 7 to make sure I was there by 9. And I had to fucking take these side streets, and I had to park, and I had to go through a metal detector, all this fucking bullshit. So I went to Van Nuys. It was close, at least, to my house. Parked in the parking garage. I walked in, and I sat in this area. They came out. There's no justice in this country. There's no, the jury duty is the dumbest thing in the world because, again, it's just a room full of people who hate it and want to escape, and they want to get out quickly. I don't know how anybody gets any sort of fair trial or anything in this country. I'll just tell you this. Again, there really is nothing memorable about what happened at this particular jury duty, except for the fact that I got there I had to be there by 8. And then finally they came out at like 9:40 and decided they were going to take roll. And then they said, hey, we're going to show you guys a video about what it means to be on a jury. And then all these fucking TVs go off showing you people going, yes, you get to sit there and it's part of your civic duty. And nobody's paying attention. It's like on a plane when they tell you how to save your life and they pull out the belts and the fucking oxygen masks. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. It's a thankless task for these people working at jury duty because, again, all they have to do is sit there and listen to people bitch about how they shouldn't be there. I get that. So I just sit there and I just shut the fuck up and wait to get called and wait to get excused. Because all I'm trying to do is get through the day. If you get through the day, you're done. If you get through the day, you don't have to come back. In Los Angeles. In Van Nuys, if they don't call you, they tell us right away, oh, you can get called again tomorrow. You will have to call in and check and see if we need you again tomorrow. I don't know if the jury pool is smaller. I don't know. And again, perhaps I misunderstood. I don't think I did. But she came out and gave a speech and said, hey, there were no free passes. Like, she basically said, everybody in this room is going to get called. And if you don't get called, you'll come back tomorrow. Which is fucking ridiculous. I thought the whole point was to come in and hide behind a bench and hopefully you didn't get called. So I come in and I'm sitting there and I got my earbuds in and I'm listening to Dragnet because I want to brush up on all sorts of law stuff before I get called into a courtroom. And just in case a detective gets hit with a sap during a St. Patrick's Day parade, I was ready for that case, man. I was ready. Dragnet had primed me for it. But I sat there, they called roll, they did all this stuff, and I'm sitting there, they call the first group of jurors, and you're just sitting in a fucking silent room. There was nothing dramatic, nothing happened. It was just, again, pure boredom. Like boredom in its purest form. It was like, they have sparkling water? This was sparkling boredom. That's what I was dealing with that fucking day. And I just sat there and stared, and I listened to my iPod, and I actually got up and I took a couple of laps because I was bored. Like, I just walked around the fucking room and again, I'm sure that looked fucking weird. Probably as weird as me at the bank doing fucking pacing. But I didn't have any purpose. I just walked, and I looked at books. Because the thing is, they have books and magazines for you there, but they're just from, like, it's like Life magazine from 1911. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know where they found these things. I don't know if they were handed to them. And all I can think of is those books. I'm just like, there's bed bugs in them. I know that there have to be. Oh, by the way, I was on a fucking plane the other day and I got off. There were 2 bites on my knee. There weren't bites when I got on the plane as far as I know, but I was itchy and I looked down and there were 2 bites on my knee. And so now I'm scared to fucking death that something bad's going to happen. There's no more there. And I've been home. There've been no bites. But that's all I can think about now is that, on planes and traveling, I think of bed bugs. I think of them everywhere. And you people aren't helping by sending me fucking things all the time.
Did you immediately throw everything in the dryer and heat it up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, once I got home. Yeah. But I mean, again, my luggage was in the little overhead thing and I was down in the thing and I still had to get on another plane and fly. I don't know what the fuck happened. All I know is it looked like 2 mosquito bites. And I was in Milwaukee and they had mosquitoes, but I mean, I didn't think that they had bitten me. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. But yeah, man, so I'm in fucking jury duty and just staring. And then they come to lunch. And they take an hour and a half for lunch from like 12 to 1:30, which is fine because it eats up day. But I mean, I would much rather be called and dismissed before then than to have to give them another fucking hour and a half. And, you can leave the grounds, but then you've got a badge and all that. And so but here's the thing that cracked me up. Okay. Again, I got there at 8 and then they called roll and they did all this stuff at like 9:30. And then we sat there until lunch was at 12. So at 11:45, she comes out and she goes, all right, we're going to be going to lunch. She goes, is there anybody here who I don't have their number or their paperwork? They didn't turn in their finished paperwork. Because we had to, at 8 o'clock in the morning, then she called roll. We had to finish our paperwork and hand it in at 9:45. And she says, is there anyone here who hasn't finished their paperwork or didn't hand it in? And 6 people raised their hand and stood up. They'd been sitting in the room for almost 4 hours and never went to the desk to say, hey, does anyone need my name? Hey, do you need paperwork? Because they had their paperwork. It's mailed to you. It's fucking mailed to you. They sat there for 4 hours without, and just completely non-curious about just sitting there thinking that I guess people are going to hold their hand and go, here's a jury and you need to sit on it. I don't know what these fucking people were thinking. How do you not? So they didn't respond when they called roll. She goes, is there anybody here I didn't check you in or I didn't get your paperwork? Six people raised their hand. 6 people sat in a room for close to 4 hours, not wondering at all what they were doing there or checking in or telling them that they were there. So, I mean, would they have sat there all day and then at the end of the day just left and figured that they had their time served even though they didn't check in? I mean, how stupid are you? And here's the problem. Everybody is stupid. And I mean, I'm stupid too. Like, I'm stupid in different ways, okay? But, I mean, I see other people and I'm like, why are you not proactively working on getting out of there? Because, again, they did that thing where they go, if anybody thinks they should be dismissed, form a line over here. 70 people get in line. And they even said to them, don't say it's because of work. Don't say it's because of anything. You know, if you have an emergency, then get in line. But otherwise, we're not gonna let you go. And please recognize this doesn't get you out of jury duty. All we will do is we'll put your name back in, and we'll reschedule you. You'll have to come back in 2 weeks. But everybody went up to the front. And the thing that's funny to me, again, like I said, if you don't know this, if you want to postpone your jury duty, you can online. The second you get the notice, you can go to their fucking website and pick a different range of dates, and they will accommodate you. I know because I did it this time, because they originally scheduled me for jury duty the week that Jill came to town to go to all the baseball games. And I laughed. I was like, well, that's not fucking happening. So I went to the website and they go pick another week. I picked one 2 weeks later. They said, yes, fine, done, perfect. But all these other people, instead of checking online, came in and then went to the window to stand in line and plead their case. When all they were going to do was get fucking rescheduled. What is wrong with people? I don't get it. I don't understand it. This is why crime runs rampant in this country. I've thought of going on a crime spree because I could fool these fucking juries eventually. I can get picked up with fucking blood on my hands and a head in my trunk, and I could just be like, well, I was turning it into the lost and found. And they'd be like, not guilty. Send them home because we all want to fucking go home. Nobody wants to sit here. Because the internet and cell phones and everything that is immediate in our lives has made us not want to sit and ponder or do anything. These people don't want to sit in a room and talk about somebody's eventual guilt. They want to get on their phone and throw candy at birds. Whatever the fuck people do with their lives these days. I don't know. I get asked all the time to play those games. Like, people are nice and they're friendly, on Facebook and stuff, and I appreciate that. And I just block them. I don't block the people. I block the games. And the other day I was on, somebody invited me to play a game and I blocked it and it said, you have blocked the game. And it said, like, more info. So I clicked on it and it said, you have blocked the following games. I must have blocked 350 games. There's just scroll, because whenever anybody asks me to play, I block it immediately just so nobody else can ask me to play that game. Because dudes, I'm enough of a fucking whiff. I don't need to dive head first. Because there were games on Facebook that I was like, there's like an MLB game where you build a team from scratch. And I'm like, oh yeah, that would be addicting to me. And I can't. I have enough fucking, look, dude, I got Dragnets to watch. I can't fucking. I turned on my TV yesterday for the first time in like 5 days. Because I was out of town and stuff. And my DVR there's very little room left on it. And I looked and it said, why? It was because I have 24 Dragnets. 44 Kojaks.
44 Kojaks?
44 Kojaks. 2 episodes of The Saint. I started taping The Saint with Roger Moore. I remember when I was a kid, I hated it so much. Because it was so foreign to me. Because it literally was foreign to me. It's filmed in England. So he's English. It's in England. And they all have accents. And it's like those fog and bricks. I mean, it's just that kind of fucking vibe, the 60s England. And now I love nothing more than watching it because of the feel of 60s England. I think it's fucking genius. It's just, and again, it's so stupid. It's like a good-looking detective who winds up in these little cases that mean nothing, and then people try to fight him, and he throws a judo flip on him. It's like he would be dead in 5 seconds. In now, if the Saint came alive now, he'd be dead in 5 seconds. Because he walks around in a trench coat and he arches an eyebrow and all these criminals are like, blimey, it's the saint. But like now they just shoot him in the fucking head. He'd be completely dead. He would have no chance. You can't judo flip a bullet, saint. So fucking stupid. But that's his whole deal. Like all the girls want to fuck him and all the guys are scared of him. They're like, Simon Templar. Oh my God, he's a saint. And the other day he was on a racetrack. I watched him. He was at a fucking racetrack and there was a plot to kill like a race car driver and he got involved in it. And I'm like, isn't there some international intrigue you would have the saint involved in? No. Instead, he's having a pint and pondering whether or not this guy from the fucking garage is going to kill this race car driver. Nobody cares, saint. If you have that much power, if you're that insightful a detective, start working for the government, goddammit. But I love watching it. I love watching The Saint because he walks down these cobblestone streets and then he gets on a plane to Austria. And there's women with like beehive hairdos. The other day there was a woman at the airport and someone came up to sell her like a flower and then they grabbed her and they stabbed her with a thorn that had poison on it and they tried to hustle her into a taxi cab and Simon Templar threw some judo flips on everybody and he saved the woman. And then it turned out that he became friends with the woman and then he went to her brother's house and the brother was in on a plot with these fucking Muslim guys that tried to steal a jet. A jet. One jet. They're going to steal a jet from the British government. It's just stupid. All right. Man, this is too much Saint talk. I need a podcast called Saint Talk. That's what I'll do. You know, because they do that fucking show. April Richardson has that show where she watches Saved by the Bell and she talks about it with people. I could do a show where I watch like old fucking detective shows and talked about it with people, right? I should. No, why? Nobody would listen to it. Nobody at all. Me, not even the guest listens to it. Goebel does that show. Maybe Goebel next time he has me on, I make him watch old 60s detective shows. Because I made him watch Ultimate Fighter last time I was on. Goebel's never having me on a show again now, just because of that. What? You're going to make me watch The Saint? I pass. They probably remade The Saint, too. They must have, right? They must have made him for like the 90s. Isn't The Mentalist just The Saint without a halo, right? I would think so.
I don't think so.
Got to be the same dude. I have no idea. So nothing happened at jury duty. Again, it was just that thing where time stood still. They broke us for lunch from 12 to 1:30, and I was just trying to get through the goddamn day. That's all I wanted to do was get through the day. And that's no real easy feat when you're in with the general public because the general public is fucking crazy. They're lunatics. I mean, I deal right now, I'm in a car by myself all the fucking time and I work at work and all that sort of stuff and but I don't ever really have to deal with people, really. But to be trapped in a room with strangers, dude, all right, I'll just tell you this. I keep saying nothing happened, but stuff happened, but not... I mentioned I got up and I took laps around the room. Took a couple of laps, then I come back to where I was sitting, and a woman had taken my seat. And not just like inadvertently taken my seat. She was sitting in it, and she was all curled up, and she was on her phone and typing, and my bag was there. It was right there on the seat next to it. And I stepped over, and I go, I was sitting here, and she goes, oh, I'm sorry. And then she kept texting. And there's 100 seats in this room. There's other and also she was sitting somewhere else in the room. I got up and took a couple of laps, and she moved into my seat. I don't know if it looked like it would be more comfortable because I had worn a nice warm groove into it. I don't fucking know. I have no clue what this woman was doing. And when I say woman, 24, texting, oblivious, earbuds, and then I stood over her and I'm looking at her, and she looks up and she goes, yeah, and I go, that's my seat. And she went, oh, I thought you said you were sitting here. Which is the dumbest thing ever because, like, yes, I guess I was, if you want to look at this in the abstract, I was sitting there and then I stood up and I no longer was because then you would be on my lap. But it knocked me on my ass. She's like, I thought you said you were sitting here. And I'm like, no, I am sitting here. And she just went, oh, okay. She got up and moved. I mean, and not mean, not angry, cheerful, but just like oblivious. My fucking bag is there. And I'm an old giant man. I'm standing over you. I could lift you up and throw you. I could if I wanted to. I don't understand the non-fear of danger. What is with people? So I sat down, got on the phone, did some stuff. They were going to break us for lunch. Like I said, around 12, they called those people up. The 6 people go, and I'm just astonished by it. How can you sit in a room for 4 hours and just go, yeah, okay, I'm here. How do you not check in? How do you not walk to the front and go, I don't get it. Those are the kind of people who take your seat. So I break for lunch. And I went out, and I could have driven off campus, but I didn't want to lose my parking spot in the fucking parking garage. I went to my car and sat in my car for an hour and a half. And I was texting with Jill, and I was just sitting in there, and I had the radio on. I was listening to, I didn't, I mean, it's just that thing where you're a prisoner of time. You're just waiting. They own you. They fucking own you. I did go to the cafeteria for lunch. That was a smaller one. The one in LA is like big. I told you I had fucking sushi in the courtroom. Well, I went into this little fucking place, and I walk in, and there's a giant, crudely hobo-esque handwritten sign. Cash only! Guess who's not having lunch? And that's why I wound up in my car. Cash only. Whatever. So I'm sitting there, and it's not like I was going to eat anything anyway, but I was just bored. I was just doing anything to stay awake and alive. Oh, yeah. I'm awake and alive. So then I go out to the car, and then I come back in around 1:15, and this woman is in my seat again. Same woman in my seat. My bag is right there. That's not a coincidence, right? So I just walked right up to her, and I just looked down and I go, seriously? And she looks up and she goes, oh, hi. And I go, hi. What are you doing? And she goes, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you left. I said, I did for lunch. My bag is right there. She goes, well, there's a lot of other seats. And I go, you're right, there are a lot of other seats. And I just stood over her, staring at her, and she was texting, and she had her earbuds in, and she's looking at me, and then she's texting, and we were essentially in a staring contest where I'm like, move. I didn't say it, but I was like, you're right, there are a lot of other seats. And I'm looking at her, and she went to her text, and she looked up at me, and I wasn't moving, and I wasn't backing off, and she goes, you're really going to make me move? And I went, you really took my seat a second time? She goes, ah, fine. And she got up and she moved. 2 seats over. And I sat down. And I literally stared at her the whole time, and I sat down and I kept staring at her. I'm just looking right at her. Because I wanted her to feel uncomfortable and shamed. But also because I was genuinely shocked. And finally she looked up from her texting. She goes, what? And I just laughed. Ha ha ha! And I looked down and I'm like, I don't believe that. I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And how has she not been called to a fucking jury? So I'm sitting there and she's there, and then she gets up and she leaves, and then I have to use the restroom, and I figure it's safe to use the restroom because she's gone and she won't steal my seat again. So I go use the restroom, and I come back, and my bag is gone. My computer bag. And there was no laptop in it. I had brought my computer bag, and it just had books in it that I could read. But it was gone from the seat. She wasn't there. And I'd only been gone like 10 minutes because I walked out to my fucking car to grab something I had forgotten, and then I came back in, used the restroom. And I looked around, and there was a woman who had seen a woman who had been on, by the way, I unfortunately got in a conversation with her, who had been on Snoop Dogg's jury, and she was called back for, I don't know, whatever, an encore. But she had seen the whole thing play out all morning with me and this other woman. And so I walked over to my seat, and I saw that there was no bag, and I'm looking, and then I looked for the woman, and this woman says she didn't take it. And I looked at her, and I go, excuse me? She goes, she didn't take your bag. She didn't come back. I said, did you see who took my bag? And she and 2 other people went, security took your bag. What? Why? And they go, I don't know. Security took your bag. So I go over to the front office, and I knock on the door. And I said, hi, they said security took my bag. They go, yeah, you'll have to go talk to security. I said, do you know why they took my bag? No, you'll have to talk to security about that, sir. Is your name Mike Schmidt? I go, yeah. They go, all right, yes, we have a slip here that says that you need to see security because they have your bag. So I got to walk to the fucking security station, and I'm like, literally, I'm laughing in my head. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck is happening now. But it cut the monotony of the day. That's all I will say for sure. And part of me also wanted to go around and say hi to as many people as I possibly could in case they wound up on my jury and we could wind up nullifying them, because I mean, obviously something bad is about to happen. So I go over to security, and and when I walked in, you had to go through the metal detector, and security at the courthouse, they recognize their security at a courthouse. They're not hard asses usually. But for some reason, I went to the security place, and I got I got Serpico. I mean, I got that dude. You know what I mean? He's just, he's got the shiniest badge, and his gun is loaded. You know what I mean? One of those fucking guys. And I walked up and I'm like, hi. They told me security took my bag. And he goes, what's your name? And I said, Mike Schmidt. And he has a clipboard and he starts rifling through and he goes, is it a black computer bag? I said, yeah. He said, are you Mike Schmidt? I said, yes. He goes, yeah, I need some ID. So I give him my ID and he fucking pretends to look on the papers again and he goes, all right, well, yeah, we did take your bag. And I said, well, can I have it back? And he goes, well, we got to ask you some questions first. I go, why? And he goes, well, why would you leave your bag unattended in the room? I said, everybody's bags are unattended in the room. It's lunch. And he goes, well, no, a lot of people took their things when they went to lunch. I go, I didn't take anything because I went and sat in my car. I'm in the room all day. I didn't leave it unattended. It's just there. Well, we've had some reports that you've actually left the bag unattended a few times today. You actually went and had one.
That bitch!
She told security that I left my bag. It had to be her, right? It had to be her. We've had reports you've left your bags unattended several times today. What? Everybody's left their fucking bag unattended. And I didn't swear. I didn't say that. I go, dude, everybody's left their bag unattended. They went to lunch. They go to the restroom. They go, yes, but we've been told that you've been suspicious about it. And I'm like, I'm still here. How could I be suspicious about it? Well, we went through the contents of your bag. There didn't appear to be anything suspicious in there. I'm like, yes, there's a copy of The Walking Dead. That's it. That's all that's in there. Really, it's a book. And he's like, well, sir, I don't need you to be flip with me. And I go, I'm not being flip. You have to understand, none of us want to be here. And now you're taking my personal property because somebody told you I'm suspicious? Well, you could have come and talked to me. Well, don't leave your bag unattended anymore, sir. And he reaches under the thing and he hands me my fucking computer bag. But I mean, all right, I understand that bitch, fine. But even if she told them, why would they come and get my bag? What did she say? What could she possibly have said? This guy's acting funny. This guy's acting weird. This guy, I don't, there's nothing you could, because everybody else, if you looked around the room, there were bags unattended all over the fucking room. Because my bag was black. I don't know. All of a sudden I'm Dylan Klebold? I mean, I couldn't figure it out. What the fuck? And the funny thing is, then I was sitting there and I didn't want to get called to a jury. I thought if I just skated through the day, I'd be fine. And they would come up periodically and they'd call names to see who would go to a jury. But I also didn't know if I was going to have to come back the next day. And so so they came back out at 2:40. And we were done for the day at 4:30. So they came out at 2:45. She goes, this is the last group of names we will call today. And so I actually taped it. I don't know if I still have it on my phone. But you hear her reading names. Because and at the end of it, I didn't know what, and so sure enough, she's reading. And then she goes, Michael Schmidt. And I just go, fuck, here. And so I got picked to go to a courtroom in the last group of the fucking day. And I was very careful to bring my bag and not leave it unattended. I never saw that chick the rest of the day, by the way. I don't know if she got called to a jury or she left, or I don't know what the fuck. But I mean, she obviously reported me to security and then went into the witness protection program because she knew I'd be fucking looking for her. So I get called to a courtroom and we come in and again, they bring us all in and they say, hey, we think we already have a jury pool. The judge was very nice. She goes, we think we already have a jury pool for this. We have 14 jurors, but we want to get another 6 jurors so then we can start eliminating and having alternates and things like that. The way this is going to work is we're going to interview all of you, and if we think we can keep you, we will. She goes, now, if you would like to be excused right now, I can do that, but you'll just go right back into the jury pool and come back in 2 weeks. If you think you can claim that you won't be able to stay on this case, because I will tell you right now, this case will last 6 weeks.
Wow.
Unless it settles. She goes, this case will last 6 weeks. If you are going to claim a financial hardship or something, she goes, you can do that, but please recognize that I will not grant them all. So does anybody here feel like that they couldn't serve for 6 weeks? And there's probably 45 of us in the room. 44 hands go up. And she looks at this one person. She goes, sir, you think you can serve? And he goes, I think I can. He goes, all right. She goes, all right, well, you can go. Come back here tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. He's like, great. And he splits. She goes, everybody else, we're going to pass out forms. And we'll handle this very quickly because, again, like I said, there's a very good chance you may not be called because we really only need 6 of you. So if you want to take your chances and go through the process today and then maybe come back tomorrow at 1:30, there's a very good chance you'll be dismissed. However, if you'd like me to consider your form, You can go ahead and fill that out. And if I say you stay, you stay. So I got my form and I wrote, I was as nice as I could possibly be. I just said, I work in a job that is essentially day to day and I live check to check. And I've just been out of town for 6 days and I'm going out of town for another 6 days. And there's no way I can miss a week of work, let alone 6 weeks of work. And I wrote it certainly more elegant than that. And filled it out. And the funny thing is, like, I wrote a paragraph out. And then I walked by, and then there's, a lot of these people, English is their second language, these poor people. So I see them like, essentially, remember the old days when they had like like Lenny of Mice and Men had to write an X on his paycheck? I mean, that's what these people are doing as they're writing, because they, nobody writes anymore. People text, they email. Nobody actually sits down and uses longhand. So I'm watching people like crossing out words and all that because they don't, they're not used to writing things out anymore. And that's all I do. So I will tell you this, I have to write a little more slowly than I used to because I'm so used to just vomiting out words and going at the speed of my head. Well, writing at the speed of my head is a little more difficult because I like to, I craft words. When I speak, it's different. So I finished my form and I turned it in. We all turned our forms in, and then she brought them in, and it was like a game show. Now we're all out in the fucking hallway and she's going through them. And to the judge's credit, she went through them super fast. And we were only waiting like 10, 12 minutes. And they go, all right, everybody come on back in. And by the time we got back into the courtroom, it was like 3:15. She goes, all right. She goes, we will keep some of you here until 4 o'clock, but some of you can be dismissed and some of you will go back into the jury pool. She goes, so here are the people. If I call your name, go back down and tell them that you're coming back to jury duty in 2 weeks. And it was so funny because when she would read those names, these people would be like, oh, like they're just, because that was the chance they took. She said, hey, if you want to just stay and go through this, you can get your service waived by coming back tomorrow at 1:30 if we don't pick you. But there's a chance you might wind back up in the pool. And sure, so she read those people's names. And then she goes, if I don't call your name, you will be coming back tomorrow at 1:30. If I call your name initially, you are going back in the jury pool. And she called a bunch of names for people who had to go back into the jury pool, like 25 people. And they were just so pissed. Every one of them would just be like, they'd sigh, exhale, and they'd get up and they'd fucking like mope out of the goddamn courtroom because they realized that they fucking took a chance they shouldn't have taken. Well, she finishes those names and then I'm sitting there. So I don't know if I'm in the court case or if I'm not. And then she says, all right. She goes, if I read your name, you are dismissed from jury duty and your time is served. And she starts reading names and it was like that thing where like, yes, like everybody's like all excited and they're trying not to be so excited. And she starts reading names. And then finally I was like the third to the last name she named. So I was dismissed from jury duty. So I only lost a day of work and I lost, because I didn't walk out of there until I think it was 10 to 4. But again, just the whole process is so flawed. The sitting there, the waiting, the dumb people who don't know how to follow instructions, who make it harder for the people who do follow instructions, the videos that are just written at a 5th grade level. Well, I'll tell you what, it's part of your civic duty to take place in jury duty. I was so proud to serve my country and get on that jury, and I just want to go, I want to say to those people, what was your case? Tell me your interesting case that you were involved in. What fucking parking spaces did you parcel out? What fucking zoning board bullshit did you get involved in? Because not everybody's on the OJ trial, all right? But these people are so proud. And again, like I said, written at such a level to where they try to convince you that it's okay. And it's all, hey, look, this Mexican guy, this Asian guy, this black guy, and this white guy all love jury duty. What a shock. Women, men, children, pets, we all love our civic duty. I mean, it's just such a terrible video to watch. I wish it was up where you could watch it on fucking line because it's just, here is the thing to remember when you're in jury duty. These citizens are just like you. You are not to have any biases at all. And just that weird condescending voiceover. And again, nobody's paying attention to it anyway, but I wanted to film it. I almost took my phone out and filmed part of it because it was just so fucking bad. And also, I'll tell you this, in Van Nuys, around the walls, famous people serve jury duty too. So they had pictures of famous people up on the wall, like headshots in a fucking dry cleaner, holding their juror's badge. Ed Asner. You know what I mean? Like, I think Ellen DeGeneres, like all these, and because I wanted to take the picture, but unfortunately the glare was too bad. But I was just going to start tweeting out those photos and just be like, oh, this guy's a juror. He was a juror. I mean, because they were just, I don't know who that's fooling. Who's going, oh my God, Ed Asner was a juror? Well, I'm going to do my civic duty. I mean, what the fuck? I'll tell you what, when you got Ed Asner in there, prisoner of this fucking stupid room, why do you have him shoot a better video, for fuck's sake? You got all these famous people in here, have them make the goddamn video. Get Michael Bay in here to throw some fucking explosions in the thing, because I don't want to sit here and watch fucking condescending voiceovers to every minority on the planet Earth telling me it's fun to do jury duty, because it's not. It's not. I'll tell you what, in the court of public opinion, I find the fucking Van Nuys courthouse guilty of pandering in the most multiracial way they could possibly imagine. I literally, they just... You're not going to trick anybody to think this is a good day. It's not a good day. And again, I feel badly for the people who work there, because they just have to fucking slog through it. And that's why when I finally got dismissed and I went down there to the woman, she was so cheerful and happy, and I was cheerful. Like, I almost wanted to hug her and like cry because we'd been through some sort of Stockholm syndrome thing together. It was just like, yes, you get to go home another day and you didn't get shot by a disgusted juror, and I get to leave and come back in another year and a half because I know you'll fucking call me in another year and a half. I know you will. Hopefully in Van Nuys. I don't give a fuck. I just didn't want to have to make the fucking drive because I know I was home in like 15 minutes. No chocolate bars. I thought about bringing chocolate bars like there, but then I thought I'd look like a madman just eating giant chocolate bars waiting to get called for the jury, and then I'd be all fried out when I got called up there. And then if they're not going to let me, the judge isn't going to let me eat in their courthouse. And then what I'm going to do with a giant license plate of chocolate? I can't leave it in my bag unattended. Because I'll tell you, if there's a weapon at all to be smuggled into a courthouse, it would be a 7-ounce chocolate bar, because it is. Because if I get enough heat behind it, it's a throwing star. If I come up behind you and I hit you in the head, it's like a fucking folding chair. I mean, I could knock you the fuck out or stab you to death with it. Somebody's going down from a 7-ounce fucking license plate of chocolate. Hershey's has no idea they're in the weapons business. None. Check that. Hershey's might have every idea they're in the weapons business. Because they know what they're making. Those are weapons. Because they're destroying you from the inside. That's what they're doing. They didn't realize that they could be used for malice outside as well. Listen, when you get a handful of those things, you start to think about other uses besides fucking eating them. But then, of course, you just wind up eating them. But we all know I stopped eating chocolate, right? Right? Didn't I? Shouldn't I? I should, right? Oh, Christ. Even Jill went, we're going to stop eating the chocolate for a while, aren't we? And I'm like, yeah, I think we are. We have to. Because the rule was I could only have it with her. Like, I was like, that's like a vacation. I broke that rule. I was getting them and I'm trying not to. But I will tell you this, though. I did this because I told her what was in them. Like I told her the calorie amount and stuff, and she was like, that's when she panicked. Like, she made this face. And she's like, you're gonna stop doing that. I think that's a good idea if you stop. And I'm like, yeah. But it turns out I was wrong about the calorie count. Like, for some reason, I thought there was 1,900 calories in each. I thought there was 1,900 calories in each bar, but there's only like 900 calories in each bar. So look at that. So if I eat 4, that's only 3,600. I thought it was like fucking 7,200. I thought it was crazy. My math might be off there. Wait, you got a small one. Don't pull a small. Wait a minute, you have a small chocolate bar? Hold on, open that up.
Math on this.
All right. Wait a minute, you're actually going to do math? That's going to be great for everybody at home. So she actually pulled a Hershey bar. First of all, I'm sitting here. She didn't even offer me any of her Hershey bar, which is ridiculous. Because I don't know if you've seen the commercials. You're supposed to share it with a pal. It's like in a Coke, where it says share a Coke with a friend or a buddy.
1.5 ounces.
Yes.
Is 210.
Right.
Calories.
Okay.
So
5 times that, but a little less.
Little less, yeah.
It's like 900.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's not 1,900, so I'm good. No, I'm not exactly.
You know why?
I don't know why.
Here's the real problem.
Yes, I know. There's sugar. There's all sorts of terribleness. I know.
24 grams of sugar would be 240 grams of sugar you're consuming.
Yes, but I'm still losing weight. I'm eating protein, and I got a clean bill of health from the doctor, so just now it's time to stop.
Because he loves me.
You can say that all you want, but
You can't.
I'm not right. I have to stop eventually. I know. It's like when I had the fucking surgery. I go, you know what? You've done everything you've wanted. Now it's time to pay the check. So I did. I got the surgery. So this time it's like I went and got my checkup, and it turns out everything's fine. So now I got to stop doing the chocolate because I've been eating chocolate all along and still came out. You know what? I swam through a river of chocolate and came out clean on the other side. I'm the Andy Dufresne of Hershey bars. So I swam through a river of chocolate and came out clean on the other side. So now I just have to go fucking sand a boat in Zihuatanejo. That's what I got to do. First, I got to go hide a cigar box full of cash for Red, and then I got to go down to Zihuatanejo, have him meet me down there, and we'll eat shrimp in a bromance, the first and original bromance. All right, so I'm glad you. But I will tell you this: I'm glad you pulled that little chocolate bar out of there and did the math, because it's we don't have any big chocolate bars here, do we? Anywhere? Not in my
There's
cooler.
no chocolate for you in this house.
All right.
Go get your hookup somewhere else.
As far as you know.
Chocolate druggy boy.
As far as you know.
Are you hiding chocolate in your bag?
I wouldn't say hiding. I mean, do I have to? Do you want to inspect my bag? Wait a minute. Are you gonna take my bag and take it to security? Is that what you're gonna do?
You've left it unattended.
I don't think that's true.
Bags of chocolate, or how many bags? How many bars of chocolate were there?
I don't think I have any.
No, when you were at
None. I told you I didn't bring them in because I figured that was going to be like, because again, I have to go through a metal detector, and you know they're going to see those big squares and go, what's this? And then fish out. It was like the time I traveled and I brought like fucking 30 Hershey bars with me when I traveled or whatever it was. And then they opened my fucking luggage and they stared at me and they're like, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm fat. You know what I mean? It's like there was no way I couldn't say anything because there's nothing around it. And there was no 9/11 violation. It's not like I was going to go ahead and melt them down and create like a fucking, huge Let's Roll machine. I mean, that wasn't going to fucking happen. And that's a good name for a band, Huge Let's Roll Machine. I think that's a really good name for a band.
I think so.
If you're a wedding band in Pennsylvania, please name your band Huge Let's Roll Machine. I can't imagine the bookings you'll get. Oh my God, so many bookings. You will not be booked ever in a million years. Do me a favor, name your band Huge Let's Roll Machine or Chocolate Box Cutters. Do that. That's perfect. I think, because literally when you think about it, I bought those king-size Hershey bars and they're shaped like a box cutter essentially. So it looked like I had 30 box cutters in my luggage when they opened it up and they're like, oh, this is just chocolate. And I'm like, aha. Huge Let's Roll Machine or Chocolate Box Cutters. I'm going to be the worst talent agent in the history of the business. And the fact that I think bands should name themselves Huge Let's Roll Machine or Chocolate Box Cutters, and I tried to smuggle 30 Hershey bars onto a plane, and I'm starting to see why security took my bag at jury duty. I got to be honest with you. Even if my bags are with me, my bags are unattended. I think that's pretty much a fact. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can be our friend David Hernandez. Oh, no, you follow me at Twitter, Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. Our friend David Hernandez is the Renaissance man behind Betwixt, the artwork and the music for this show. You can find him at Facebook.com/DavidMexHernandez. But if you would like to purchase some of his artwork, or have him commission him to do an amazing logo or anything for you, because he has years and years in the industry. He is a champion, and he is willing to work. He is a commerce-oriented person who would be giving you paintings for money. Look, I'm just reading the copy the way it's stated. Go ahead and contact him at artbydmh.com, artbydmh.com. He will do a painting. He will do you can negotiate whatever you'd like for him to do, and if it's within the realm of his possibilities or your pocketbook, he'll be happy to do it for you. So go to artbydmh.com, artbydmh.com, and get David to do some cool stuff for you, like the cool stuff he does for us. Our friend Lily Von Stupp is the producer of this show and also the keeper of the keys to the kingdom, which I would affectionately refer to as a stripper's kitchen, but it is still where the magic ? Happens every week. And I'm lucky enough that she takes time out of her busy schedule to accommodate me and let me come in here and do this silliness. So if you want to be her friend, you can go to Facebook.com/LilyVonStupp. You can follow her at several different Twitter accounts, Twitter.com/MNTs, Twitter.com/LilyVonStupp, or Twitter.com/HollywoodBQFest. But if you'd like to write her a personal note, and I guarantee that if you type it now and then hit send, by the time it arrives and she's able to open it and read it, she will still be on hold with Time Warner customer service. You can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Joe business, Joe, you're dirt. Joe business, Joe, you're dirt. Joe business, Joe, you're dirt. Don't tell me that you haven't bought the big angry. Not yet. Buy it at your business. Look at that kick-ass art for sale. Tweaked audio just cannot fail. Buy it at your business. Hey, the Schmidt, it comes alive. He'll like rap or buy you one through five. Joe, you're dirt. Buy it at your business.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica. I happen to know the producer of that show. I know the producer. I know the producers of a lot of shows, but I'll tell you what. I only speak to the producer of one particular show every week, and her name is Lily Von Stupp. She produces the Monday Night Teas. Hi, Lily. How are you?
I am good. Tired. Oh my God, am I tired?
We are both tired. We were both kind of reeling a little bit from this past Monday's Monday Night Teas, in which I think I'm going to collect my thoughts on a little bit before I go into it. What do you say? That was a night of, that was really kind of yeah.
It was really.
It was. So maybe we'll talk about it at length more next week, possibly. Maybe I'll go into it. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't, and unless you wanted to talk about it now.
No.
Because I don't know if I've got that in me. I think, here we are. It's a couple days later, and I'm still trying to process everything that happened that night. And it's funny because I was going to go into it. Never mind. I want to devote more time to it than we have. I think, and I could be wrong. By the time when I collect my thoughts, I may be like, nah, don't need to talk about that at all. But it was fantastic. It was a fun time, and we'll talk more about it when we get a chance. And then this coming Monday night is a fantastic show scheduled.
Another amazing show. Out of town people, in town people. God, we have so much coming up. Go follow it on Twitter and you'll find out.
If you follow twitter.com/Monday Night Teas, or no, MNTs. MNTs. And if you also go to MondayNightTeas.com, and you get all sorts of information. You go to Facebook.com/Monday Night Teas. You will get all of the information about upcoming shows, who's coming to town, seeing pictures from past shows, see pictures from this past week, and all sorts of cool stuff. It'll be fantastic. Go ahead and visit that. And please remember, tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com for any and all Monday Night Teases that are scheduled in the future. Go ahead and stop there. Check them out. Buy tickets for all of them. Come on out and join the fun, join the frivolity, join the festival, join the follies. Join the... join any other F word I could possibly cram in there. So that's the Monday Night Teas. It's exciting, and it's waiting for you. If you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, MikeSchmidtComedy.com, go to the Joe Business page. All sorts of stuff there for sale. We've got tweakedaudio.com type of stuff, which is great. They've got cock ring watches. They've got autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds. We've got the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and year 6 of this show available individually or together as part of the Reservoir Schmidt Dogs set. We have T-shirts available. We have all sorts of cool stuff available for you at MikeSchmidtComedy.com's Joe Business page. Click on that. Go look at the artwork. Look at all the little characters on the walls. Have fun. Enjoy yourself while you're there. And also, if you think about it, why don't you... And I will tell you this, by the way. There was a big controversy like 2 weeks ago. Did you see the drawing of Spider-Woman? Well, if you go to my website... Mex drew a blonde just like that, like fucking a year ago. He was way ahead of the curve on that. So go check out a blonde who might have been Spider-Woman. I don't know, maybe, but perhaps, you know what? Spider-Woman's secret identity is in that room right there on the Joe Business page. If you click on the Amazon pennant on the wall, you will click through to our Amazon store and then click through to Amazon itself and do some shopping. We will get credit because we are Amazon affiliates. Thank you so much. You guys are supporting the show by doing that, and I'm glad that you do. And like I said, there are some people who do it at their work. They hooked up the work computers to go right through to the Mike Schmidt link. Thank you so much. You're super nice for that. And thank you for thinking of us. And I will tell you, nobody took me up on their offer of buying something and then letting me say their name on the air yet. They will. Perhaps they will, but not yet. But once they do, I will be, oh my God. I might do an hour of just reading names of people and their products, because isn't that thrilling radio? That's exactly what we want, right? We just want me reading like Romper Room. I'll actually hold up the thing in front of my face and I see Lily and Janie. I hated that. It scared me when I was a kid because I thought you could see me when I was home from school. Didn't like it. First of all, I don't even know why I was watching Romper Room in the first place, but I had it on because it just happened. It was like one of those things that in between shows. And if I didn't get on Garfield Goose, I had to sit there and watch that. Oh my God, Garfield Goose is awesome. Do you know who Garfield Goose is?
Yes.
Okay. He was on with Fraser Smith, and then there was he had a little rabbit friend who was silent. But Garfield Goose is awesome because he would talk, and he didn't make it talk. He couldn't talk because he was a puppet. But his beak would smack together in the coolest noise ever. It's like, I can't even do the noise, but it was awesome. If you find Garfield Goose online, you'll hear his beak hitting together. And when I was a kid, I loved that noise. And I loved Garfield Goose. And I loved the idea, I created a whole house for them, underneath that little shelf. It was just them there, but I figured when they went downstairs, they had a castle and a dungeon and a kitchen and all that cool stuff. And then the lady from Romper Room would see me, and I'd be like, I'm not looking at Garfield Goose's house, I promise, because she would see me. So horrifying. So go to the Joe Business page, click on the Amazon pennant, do all of that neat stuff. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for thinking of us. You are great. Again, I said artbydmh.com. You can go visit David Hernandez and get him to do some cool stuff for you. I will tell you this. I talked to my mom. I haven't talked to my mom in about a month, which is weird. It's my fault because I didn't call her, but she's back in Illinois. They're trying to get their house ready to go and move so they can go back to Florida because that's the thing, summer in Illinois, whatever. But she wants to get rid of the Illinois house. They just want to get rid of it. But the thing is, my mom and my stepdad are trying to do it themselves. So they're, my mom's 70, 71, and he's like 74, and they're trying to put in countertops and bullshit like that. And it's just like, dude, just hire 4 strapping dudes to come in and do the house and then leave. Just fucking bail. Because I also tell her, I don't even know why the fuck she's trying to fix the house, because whoever buys the house is going to tear it down and build their own fucking house on the lot anyway. I guarantee it. Nobody wants that house. That house is just like the filter of a fucking cool cigarette. I mean, because my mom has been smoking in it for fucking 25 years. I guarantee, I don't even know what she's done to it, but I'm going to walk in and I'm going to go, yep, somebody smoked in this house for 25 years. That's just the way it is. And it caught up to her, and as we all know, she had cancer last year, lung cancer, had to get that taken care of. So, like I said, I haven't talked to her in about a month, and I called her, and I was curious, because we haven't really talked about it the last few times I've talked to her, and I was like, hey, are you still smoking? Because she had given up smoking. She had quit before, like a month or whatever before the surgery, or 2 months, I think. And I said, hey, are you smoking? And my mom said, no. So my mom is not smoking cigarettes. And she threw that caveat in there. She goes, no, I'm not smoking cigarettes. I went, oh. I go, does that mean there are things that are being smoked at your house? She's like, well, I'm not going to give up smoking pot. That's not going to happen. I said, and I'm torn here because a part of me wants my mom to stay alive. Check that. All of me wants my mom to stay alive. Not just part of me, all of me wants my mom to stay alive, but there's part of me that thinks that old people should be able to do whatever the fuck they want at all times. I think I've talked about that, where it's like they, if they want ice cream at 2 a.m, just give them ice cream. And even though the doctor says that, dude, if they eat ice cream, they'll die, old people know how to make a choice. And if they've been here a long time and they want ice cream to be their final goodbye, then give them a huge fucking bowl and say good night. I mean, seriously. So I can't really get after my mom about smoking pot, because she's done it forever and that's what she likes to do. But at the same time, it was the very thing that caused her to get lung cancer, or at least contributed to it. I don't know. I can't tell my mom what to fucking do, but I did. I clucked my tongue a little bit. I'm like, Ma, come on. She goes, what? I'm just not going to stop that. I go, yeah, but Ma, you're not supposed to be smoking. And she goes, well, I have to do it. I have to until they get those edibles out here. And I said, well, they don't have edibles in Illinois? And she's like, not that I know of, I go, Ma, they got them all over the place out here. Jesus Christ. They go, they practically have a guy. It's like, remember Cheech and Chong Nice Dreams and they drove around in a truck? Yeah, they basically have that here. They have delivery systems where they will bring them right to your house. She's like, oh, well, maybe I got to get you to send some of those out to me. No. And I said, well, I like that idea, sort of, except for the fact that I would wind up in prison. I'm probably not going to want to wind up in prison. And I know I don't want you to wind up in prison. And she's like, well, no, come on. There's a way to do it. Just don't put a return address on the envelope. And I'm like, I don't. My mom watches forensic files like all the time. And there's no way that she doesn't realize they would get a fingerprint or something. They trace it back to me like immediately. She was so kind of desperate for it. She's like, yeah, just do it. Just don't put a return address in the envelope. And I'm like, dude, what do you, that's not. And by the way, let's talk about forensic files for just a second, because Jill, when Jill and I are in bed, she has to have the TV on. She sleeps with the TV on. So she'll kind of maybe drift off to sleep, and I'll be up. So, I'll be trying to find something to watch. And in her room, like, we don't get full cable in her room like they have in the living room for some reason. It's like, because she doesn't have a cable box in her room. So she goes through the wall antenna. So you get a bunch of, channels, but not all of the channels. So I'll flip through, and but it's great for me because I just throw on MeTV and we watch Perry Mason and Dragnet and Adam 12, like I said, I got her listening to it and watching it. Like I said, when she woke up out of that dead sleep, and she's just like, "What's the weather like in Los Angeles?" I'm like, "Oh my God, awesome." So I'll flip channels. Well, another show that we watch all the time now is I'll just put on Forensic Files because it's on CNN. At like all night. I don't even know. I think they just run it for like 5 hours because I'll just throw it on and then I'll wake up and it's still on. But the best part of it, it's always they recreate these, crimes and they tell you about, but the announcer is the greatest. I don't know who this dude is, but I want to meet him. I would love to get him to do drops for this show in some way, because he just, the first time we ever saw him, we couldn't stop laughing every time he talked. her husband left her behind, but Stacy was going to be suspicious. Like, he's everything, no matter what. You know, Stacy made a sandwich. It's always Stacy. And we're listening and we're laughing our asses off. And I'll tell you this. So my mom tells me to, you know, just don't put a return address on the envelope. I watch Forensic Files. They convicted a guy 20 years after he killed his wife because they found graphite in his shoes from the special limestone that was in the quarry where he dumped the body. 20 years later. Also, when they dug her up, she had fibers from his trunk, and those fibers were only in one particular Chrysler that was made in that year, and he owned one. I mean, it just, and I'm watching these stories. There was a woman who got, and again, I will also say this, criminals are dumb. Like, I don't know how that guy thought he was going to get away with it at all. I mean, he did for 20 years, but still, he didn't wear gloves, and they found like a smudged fingerprint. It's like, dude, you can't fool the police. You can never fool. I mean, they're killing innocent dudes. They're not gonna fucking get fooled by you and your bullshit. You know, this guy, there was a story about, because that guy, his wife was dead, and his kid came in to get a permission slip signed, and the mom was dead in the bed, but the dad signed the permission slip, and then he waved to his kids at the bus stop with the mom in the trunk, and he dumped her in a fucking blanket, and just like, and like I said, I'm really good at putting myself in a victim's mindset now, or like a perpetrator's mindset, I guess, because I can't imagine that guy for 20 years living with the fact that he killed his wife and dumped her body. Like, how would you function as a human being? How would you take a shower? How would you look in the mirror and not realize you killed somebody and you think you got away with it, but you still got to answer for it eventually? Just being haunted. I'm not saying the afterlife and bullshit and Jesus and a robe and all that nonsense. I'm not saying any of that. Well, I'm serious. Yeah, nobody's going to put you in a toga and make you fucking defend your life, and the devil's not going to call you in and just force feed you donuts like Homer. I mean, it's not going to fucking happen, all right? I don't know. But I know that just the very fact that you did it, I mean, I guess if you're remorseless and you're a fucking animal, then you can, I guess, live with it. But I mean, I can't imagine, like, if I bumped into a car when I was driving, I would put a note on it because I would be so fucking freaked out that all I did was ruin that guy's day by putting a scratch in his car. You know what I mean? I'm just not that, I'm not wired like that to try to get away with things. I'm not. It doesn't make sense. And so we watched that show, and I find myself sick to my stomach for these people, but also the dense stupidity of the victims as well as the criminals is always shocking to me. There was a story about there was a stripper, of course, Tiffany, who worked for a club run by a biker gang called the Banditos. Did you really see this one? She got pregnant, and the guy said, "Oh, you're pregnant? That's awesome. Let's take a camping trip and talk about it." And she's like, "Okay." And then they found her skull. I mean, it's just like so bad. I'm watching that story unfold. And it's just the pure progression of, "Oh, yeah, you're pregnant? That's awesome. Let's go camping and talk about it." Okay. And then they find your spinal column in a ravine. Don't go fucking camping. And then he's dating another chick at the time. So that chick is like, he came back from the camping trip and he was a little agitated and he had blood on his hands. And he said he cut himself on the camping trip. So he got all washed up. And they're like, "Well, why didn't you say anything?" She goes, "Well, I didn't have any reason to doubt his story that he had cut his hands on the camping trip." Really? And he had cut his hand on a camping trip, come home covered in blood, and then came to your house and went, "Yeah, everything's okay." And he washed up and you let him? You let him? And then finally, like 5 months later, she told the cops, "Well, he has been seemed kind of strange." And then they found him like in somebody's sleeper cab in a truck in Nebraska. And I'm like, "But that's your life. If you go on a camping trip and you kill your fucking semi-girlfriend and your unborn kid, then you're going to be hiding in a semi-truck in Nebraska for the rest of your life, scared and worried. And you don't have a life anymore. You don't have a life." And that's why I am never really worried that I'm going to do something so stupid that I'll put myself in a position where I can't get out of it. Because I mean, I am fairly reactionary. We heard last week I do some things that I think and I don't think, and I wind up, banging my head into shit or whatever. But I would never do anything that put me in jeopardy of losing the rest of my life to stupidity. You know what I mean? I would never do anything that made me, because I'm so easy and so quick to put myself in that mindset of what would you do if you, because again, how many times did I get in street fights and you read a story about a guy who got hit in a street fight, hit his head on the curb and he died. And then you get 11 years for manslaughter. And then, the next thing you know, the fucking white supremacists are putting a spoon up your ass and it's just terrible. Nobody wants any of that to happen. That's from Oz. You don't even want to know. Oh, terrible. That just.
God, I loved Oz.
I hated it. We've talked about Oz. I watched every single episode and went, "I'm done. I don't want to see a rerun. I don't want to ever see anything ever again to do with Oz. It's just fucking nightmarish. Nightmarish." So the bottom line is, I'm not mailing my mom brownies. I mean, I can't. And then she's trying to kind of tell me about how safe it is and how it's easy. And she's like, "How do you think I get my pot in Florida?" I'm like, what? And she's just like, and she kind of goes through the steps, and I'm like, Ma, I don't want to, I don't tell me any of this. She goes, no, I had to send away for it. And then I was like, what do you mean you sent from the back of a comic book when you got X-ray specs and a joint? I mean, I don't want to fucking hear this nonsense. But my mom was just like, yeah, well, we got to do that. And the thing is, I like, no, Ma, you just got to stop. I mean, you just got to stop kind of doing that. And she's like, well, as soon as I get those edibles, I can go ahead and do that. And I'm like, all right. And part of me wants her to just fly out here, and then we'll go on a fucking spree. Because, it's funny. I have a friend, I won't say his name, who has decided that he's going to get high for the rest of his life. And good for him. But I guess on 420, it's like Halloween. So like if you go to all the dispensaries, they got all this free shit to try to get you in to buy stuff. And they give away free weed and free edibles and free stuff. So I didn't realize that, because I don't know, I don't run in those circles. But then I went to my friend's house, and he goes, check this out. And he pulled out like a laundry basket filled with fucking weed and edibles, because he hit every fucking dispensary all around town like a kid on fucking trick-or-treating Halloween, and wound up with all of this stuff. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm fucking covered for like the next 6 months. And I'm like, oh my God. I guess I didn't realize that it was that easy. Like, I know it's easy because I deliver food to the weed dispensaries all the goddamn time. Did I talk about the guy on here? Oh, did I tell that story? Dude, so we go to the weed dispensaries. I deliver all the time in Hollywood or in Venice. And they're great tippers, and they order a ton of fucking food because they're starving. So there's this one in Venice, and they've got like a compound, man. They've got a gate around their fucking building. And because I will tell you that is the thing. They do not fuck around. Well, I realized just how much they didn't fuck around because I showed up at this one, and I'd never been there. And I buzzed the gate. And they didn't buzz me in, so I tried the gate, and it opened. And as I walked in, a guy fucking drew his gun on me. A guy drew his gun on me, the security dude. And I go, whoa, dude, barbecue. And he's just like, oh, all right, sorry. And he fucking, and you hear that noise that where they holstered their gun, and I was like, motherfucker. And so I walked in and I go, hey, did you see that? They go, yeah, that he's new. I'm like, yeah, well, he better be old. You might want to whack that fucking dude. He's not going to be new for long if he puts a bullet in somebody when they bring over a goddamn glass of milk. Are you shitting me? Like, I couldn't believe it. And we all laughed, ha ha ha. But no, look, this is now like the fourth time I've had a gun pulled on me, and it's never easier. It's never fun. Never fun. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, they do not fuck around. But then I talked to another guy at a weed dispensary. I showed up and I'm like, hey, where's your, do you guys have guards? And he's like, nah. He goes, I had a guard and I just thought it was useless. We never had any bad things happen. And I was just paying him for no reason. And, the guy just wanted to basically weed, and I'm like, oh, that's what you're going to do is keep the guy with the gun high. That makes it gun high. Although, check that. I would have fucking got that other dude high. Absolutely. They should have fucking smoked that guy out every time he came to work. So he's not pulling his gun on Travis Barbecue, who walks in the fucking gate. And the thing is, I didn't storm the gate. I didn't fucking just like rampage in. I had a bag of, I don't know what the fuck he's thinking. He's in my, you know what? I should have probably just left that bag unattended on the inside of the gate. And he would have confiscated it. He would have gone through it. There would have been a note at the front. And everything would have been fine. It would have been good. I wouldn't have even needed it. I just leave that bag unattended. Literally, this show starts as a tiny snowball, and at the end, the hundreds are dead at the bottom of a ravine. I mean, I get that. Believe me, if there's any show in the history of the world that does not need to be transcribed for posterity, it's this one. I like when nobody can see the seams. I like when I'm able to kind of just, fly with the bees wherever. When I have to actually stop the bees and ask for directions, that's not fun. I just like unleashing the bees, but when the bees have to stop in mid-flight and we all have to kind of look at each other and bust out a fucking map, that's not fun at all. I want to saddle up these bees and ride, goddammit! I'm done.